and no one will fall in love, really. Please don't be offended by my thoughts. Right away, I was hooked. It just really grabs you and pulls you in. Oh, I love that. My mouth kind of dropped when it was revealed. I just don't know if the happy ending that's gonna happen is the happy ending that in my Delulu mind wants. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited because in today's video, I am going to read Emily Henry for the first time. And she is just an author that I just keep hearing about. Ever since I've gotten back into reading, I feel like I've just been hearing nonstop about Emily Henry, whether it be her books are being turned into a movie, or she came out with a new release, or just, yeah, people are doing rereads of her, all that stuff. It's the midst of summer, and I heard that she is the perfect author to read during the summer. I wanted to read more than just one of her books, just to kind of give me an idea of just her breadth of work. Because I feel like sometimes a book and whether or not I like a book depends also on like what the actual plot is, especially with romance novels. So I wanted to give her multiple chances to like see what her writing style is. Is it consistent across the board? I feel like all of her books are really popular, so it was hard for me to decide like which books I wanted to read first. But in the end, I feel like the reason why I chose this book to read first is literally just because I was at Barnes today, saw it, and I felt like it was speaking to me. I picked up Beach Read. I know nothing about what actually happens in this book, and even as I'm giving my thoughts throughout this reading vlog, I won't be giving any spoilers, but I pretty much feel like I'm going into Beach Read blind. I mean, other than what's written on the back here, I have no idea what this book is about, truly, other than they're switching genres and everyone will finish a book and no one will fall in love, really. I'm basically going into this book blind. I just know it's very popular. And that's it. Let's start Beach Read and read Emily Henry for the first time. Good morning. Wow. Ignore the face, the hair, the everything. I literally decided to just pick up this camera even though I feel like I just rolled out of bed. But I wanted to give a little update on Beach Read while it is fresh in my brain. Beach Read so far. So I started it last night, and man, it is so nice to be in a summer romance book. Even though I am exactly 100 pages in, I really get why people say that her books kind of read as like women's lit, because man, right off the back, it just goes straight into the tension of what kind of happened to our protagonist, where she is a romance author. She believes in happy endings always, and then something happens and are getting kind of bits and pieces of it, but something happens and all of a sudden she just like does not believe in true love anymore, which kind of actually reminds me of like The Dead Romantics a little bit, Ashley Poston, where that book, the author, she also stopped believing in happily ever afters. But this one, it's totally different from that, but my mouth kind of dropped when it was revealed what happened to her. So I went into this blind. I had zero expectations of like what was gonna happen, and it just starts off so like, and then just drops in like a page. So I liked that. Even though I was shocked at first, it really creates the tension that sets up you understanding why she's feeling this way and like why she is kind of in this romance writing slump. And so her neighbor ends up being her grumpy rival from college who doesn't believe in happy endings and who writes literary fiction and just books that have kind of like a not darker but just a like a darker tone to his writing versus hers. And so I'm at the point right now where, and none of this is spoilers, all of it's on the back, I'm just finally getting to the meat of like what they're doing in this book. They are swapping genres. They make this bet that the other one can't write a better romance novel, literary fiction novel than the other. So they're swapping genres, and then they're gonna write during the week, and then on the weekends they're gonna use that time to like teach each other how they each research for their genre. So I'm at that part right now where it's like now getting into the part that I can't read on the back of this book. So I am excited to read this tonight. I am looking forward to finishing my work so I can get back into this book. First impressions on Emily Henry's writing, I really like it. I'm really liking the premise of this book, and I like how she drew us in like so quick. But other than that, I'm excited to see how this turns out, what happens in the meat of this book. Again, I am like 20, I think Goodreads said I am like 24% in or something. It says that I am 100 out of 361 pages, which is 27% of the book. So I read 27% of this book last night, which is kind of wild. But I feel like romance books in general, I just tend to read faster because I just eat it up. I love romance books. I love happy endings, and that's not to say I don't like other books as well, but I feel like romance books are really nice palate cleansers from the fantasy world or from like literary fiction books. Mystery and romance books are just perfect books to like transition after reading books that take up a lot of brain power while reading them. All right, well, I will check in with you guys when I get more into the book. Hello everyone. So it has been a couple of days, I think, since I've checked in with you guys. So I am still reading Beach Read. I am on page 254, so a little over 100 pages left, I believe. And man, I have mixed feelings, I feel like, about this book. To be honest, like I went into this with like high hopes. I was really hoping to like this book a lot. And I feel like there are parts of it that I really do enjoy. I'm enjoying learning about these characters and their backstories, but there's just something about this main girl character that there's parts of her where I can resonate with her. And then there's another part that I feel like her just jumping to all these conclusions so early on, and she has some really, I feel like, immature reactions to things that are kind of bugging me a bit as I'm reading. So yeah, I don't know. I am still hoping it just like turns a corner in the last 100 pages here for me. I don't know why I'm just not vibing with the main girl character, but I remember I wrote down in my book journal that at around page like 154, I was just kind of confused as to where the book was going, and just her overreaching and like just assuming all of these things that just in my mind I'm like I get it, girl, you went through something. However, I don't know. It just felt very immature, and maybe that's just where our protagonist is in her journey in life. I don't know. So yeah, I again hope this turns a corner, but that's just how I'm feeling at the moment. So yeah, if you read this book and you loved it, please don't be offended by my thoughts. Again, everyone reads books and like has different takeaways from books depending on where they are in life, and just I could be reading this at just a wrong time in life. I don't know, but at this moment in time, I hope it turns a corner. I'm on page 260, and I'm hoping I can finish this today, but we'll see. Hey guys, so it's been a couple of days and I finally finished Beach Read, my first Emily Henry book, and I gotta say I feel conflicted because I went into this book thinking that I was really gonna enjoy it. I mean, the premise of it just sounded so good. It was two polar opposites, one like broody, kind of grumpy male character who writes literary fiction and really serious novels. And then there's our main female character, January, who is just sunshine, and she writes romance novels until like something happens, and then all of a sudden she just feels like she can't write romance novels anymore. She's having a bit of writer's block. January and Gus, our main male lead character, decide to swap genres to hopefully help themselves out of their writer's block that they're having. And I don't know, it starts off with the bang where we find out why January, our all sunshine's gal, is suddenly not feeling so sunshiny. She always believes in happy endings, and all of a sudden something happens and she no longer feels like that's true. So we start off right away getting into kind of the meat of things, but then also right away it kind of just goes like this, and I don't know. I had a hard time reading this book, and I'm surprised by it because like the last, I would say this much, maybe a little bit more. I feel like it kind of woke me up a bit. I really enjoyed the writing. The way that she wrapped up this book was so nice. Like, I wish that type of storytelling was just like carried throughout, but I feel like there were so many moments in this where I was just banging my head, just like, why is our character, our main lead, doing this? Like, I get that she went through something obviously in the beginning and she's working through it. However, there's a lot of just like, I don't know if it's miscommunication or if it's, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain my thoughts on this one, but I gave this a 3 because honestly, I really enjoyed the ending and like right at the beginning, very satisfied with how this book ended. But I also found myself happy that it was over. I don't know how to explain this book. Like, I would recommend people read it because I feel like maybe this is just the type of book that you have to read it at the right moment in your life, just because of some of the topics it talks about and stuff like that. But for me, in this moment in time, this was just like an okay book for me. Overall, this is just a solid 3 for me. I'd recommend it, but it's definitely not my favorite romance book. The second book I'm going to get into by Emily Henry is Happy Place. I had Book Lovers on hold, but I had to turn it back into the library. I ran out of time because, again, this one took me way longer than expected. This one I heard really mixed reviews about. Like, people either absolutely love it or they don't. Honestly, I picked up this book because it just looks so happy. I have mentioned this in previous videos that I should not do this, but I totally judge books by their covers. And I mean, even though I didn't like this book, man, is it a cute summery read. So yeah, even though I wasn't quite enjoying my time reading this, I just liked looking at it. Every time I picked it up, I was like, oh, well, at least it's cute. No idea what this is about. Okay, so it looks like it's close proximity of a former couple, probably gonna find out like why they broke up, but they haven't told their friends. The way this book reads on the back, like the book description, definitely sounds like it's more of a literary fiction, general fiction, whatever you call it, versus just like a light fluffy romance novel. But there's just a lot of, I think, not miscommunication, but just no communication happening. So I'll be interested to see how I vibe with this book, because sometimes I feel like miscommunication tropes are not my favorite tropes, because sometimes I just want to like tell these people like, come on, just talk. But it always depends on how that storyline is written. So I'm really excited to see how Emily Henry tells this story, and I want to love this book. Like, even though Beach Read was not my favorite, again, the ending was kind of its redemption. And so I'm hoping that maybe Happy Place kind of redeems my thoughts about Emily Henry and her writing. So yeah, I'm excited to start this and excited to kind of experience this with you guys. Let's get started on Happy Place. Okay, honestly, just from the first page already, I'm liking how this is reading. It's so much better than Beach Read. And again, I literally just read the first like 3 paragraphs, but okay. I will say this is how I felt about Beach Read when I first read the intro for that book, because I felt like the intro for Beach Read, like right away I was hooked. It just really grabs you and pulls you in, and then it just, I hope that this carries through. That's all I have to say. Oh, I love that. So on page 3 it says, "My best friends taught me a new kind of quiet. The peaceful stillness of knowing one another so well you don't need to fill the space. And a new kind of loud, noise as celebration, as the overflow of joy at being alive here and now." I love that. Okay, Emily Henry, let's do this, girl. Like I said, I want to love these books so much. I feel like with every book, even with authors that I'm like about, I always go into the book with just this positive, optimistic attitude of like, we're gonna love this. So hopefully. Hello, so I just want to give a little update on Happy Place. I am now 102 pages in. I'm on chapter 10, and I am pleasantly surprised with how much I'm enjoying this book so far. And I say pleasantly surprised just because of how I felt after reading Beach Read. I feel like I was a little bit skeptical about how I was going to be enjoying Emily Henry's writing, but in this book I actually feel way more invested in the characters and just the way that she's like intertwining both the present and the past into this storyline. Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it. I am only 100 pages in, but so far so good. I am so curious to see where this story is going to take us. I am loving the characters. I am enjoying all their different personalities, their friendships, the love between Harriet and Win, at least in the past tense, and then also just seeing kind of how they interact in the present. I am so curious to see like how this all unfolds, what else is going to be revealed, because so far I feel like I am enjoying the pacing of how she's like breadcrumbing all the details and stuff like that. So I'm 100 pages in, enjoying it so far, and I hope that the enjoyment of the story just continues until the end. Oh my God, this book took such a turn for me. The beginning was already off to a way better start for me than Beach Read, but man, when you get to like this chunk of the book, oh, it just completely pulled me in, and I just have not been able to put this book down. It's so good right now. It's just making me feel all these things, and just, I don't know how this book is going to end, but I'm going to be very sad if it does not end in the way that I want it to in my brain right now, because right now I am just so emotionally invested in all the characters in here, because you're not just following like our 2 main characters, Win and Harriet. It's like you also are following all the friends in this group and just seeing how the relationship has evolved over the years, how close they are. So you're just learning all about them, and then the last couple of chapters really made me understand why she is such a popular author. I'm a little over 50% of the way through. I even got out my like pen and tabs to start underlining some things, because I'm underlining because I'm invested in the story. I'm curious about how this is going to end. I feel like typically with romance novels, it's like you should know how it ends because usually there's a happy ending at the end. But with the way that this is written, I just don't know if the happy ending that's gonna happen is the happy ending that in my Delulu mind wants to happen. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, very pleasantly surprised and happy that I picked up this book and gave Emily Henry a second chance. know a book is good when you're sad that you have to put it down to go to dinner because you really just want to beast through this thing. But here we are. I finally finished Happy Place, and wow. Biggest surprise for me, as you guys saw in this video, obviously this wasn't my first Emily Henry book. Beach Read was, and I have such conflicted feelings about Beach Read because, yeah, it was just kind of like mediocre to me. It wasn't anything special. The ending and the way the ending was written, I wish that type of writing and storytelling carried throughout the entire book, because I just felt like in the middle, I just stopped being super interested in caring about our characters or caring what was going on. So after reading this book, I was just like, am I gonna like Emily Henry? Like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Happy Place, because this book has so many mixed reviews. People either love it, they hate it, they just think it's meh. Even though I felt meh about this book, I really wanted to like this book because, you know, I never go into a book thinking I'm not gonna like it. And especially with finding new authors, I always feel like you need to read more than just one of their books, because it's like their writing changes over time. Depending on the story their writing could change. This book, so amazing. Like, from the get-go, it started off really well, really strong. But that is also how I felt about how Beach Read started. And so even in the beginning, I was like, okay, like that's cool and all, but we've been through this. We've been through the beginning is nice and the middle is. So I was just gonna wait. I was just gonna hold my tongue a bit and just, you know, keep reading to see if that storytelling held throughout the entire thing. And I can tell you, after finishing this entire book, 5 out of 5. So good. Oh my gosh. It just, in this book, it's like we're not just following Win and Harriet, our like main characters. You get to know all the other friends in this group, and just, unlike Beach Read, I was just so invested into what was happening with all the characters, and the jump between present and past. It just was so fun to just see what was happening back then that led them to now, how they all got close, how some things have changed over time. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this because, you know, it's like you have this like really close friend group when you're in college or growing up. And then as life goes on, as you grow up, as you reach different stages in your life, you know, you're going to change as a person, your priorities are going to change. And so you may not be as close to the friends you used to be like so tight with. And so I feel like just with that alone, such a great story just about the friends and friendship and all of that. But then on top of that, just the love story in this just had it just like tugged at my heartstrings. Like, I felt for Harriet and I felt for Win and how they were, you know, dealing with their breakup and how just they fell in love. Everything. This love story was so good. So good, so mature. It's funny that I say it's a mature love story because, you know, it's like when you go through a breakup and there's some irrational thoughts and feelings that you have. It's like, it's not really mature thinking, but in a way, going through it and going through those feelings of just being a little irrational because you have so many deep feelings about said person. I feel like that part is super relatable, and just, it's the whole time you're just rooting for these characters. You just want them to have a happy ending. And yeah, I was so invested into the story, into all of the characters. And then the way this book wraps up, it was just my favorite. I loved it so much. I ended up tabbing this book a little bit. There was just like some really good quotes, especially towards the end. Just the way that it all came together as well for Harriet herself, like as an individual, I loved. So good. And I don't want to talk more about it because I feel like not knowing that this was something that she was kind of going through and then it being kind of slowly revealed was kind of the fun part of this book. So 5 out of 5. I cannot stop thinking about this book. I really enjoyed it. I actually think this is one of my top romance reads of the year. This is up there with yours truly and with Wow, I actually read a lot of amazing romance novels this year. I read 7 Year Slip this year. I read Dead Romantics. I read Yours Truly, Just for the Summer. I love this book. I love this book so much. This is definitely going on the favorite shelf that I have on my bookshelf there. Like, as I was reading this, I was already thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, I cannot wait to just revisit this again and reread it again. The story is just so good. Yeah, I already can't wait to reread it. I already miss these characters. Yeah, I loved it so much. So yeah, 3 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Do I like Emily Henry? Was I disappointed? Was I like, am I excited about her? I'm really excited about her. She has great story concepts. Like, this was a great concept. This was a great concept. Her other novels, the backs of the books that I've read, they sound amazing. I feel like she just is able to just give us some really amazing stories. Do I think that you should give Emily Henry a chance after reading a 3 and a 5-star read? 100%. Obviously, I conflicted, like nailed it out of the park. These type of books, because they're so much more than just regular romance novels, where they do touch upon deeper topics and just different things that you go through at different stages of your life. It's like, maybe down the line I could reread this and then it just totally hit home. And I feel like with Happy Place, I'm just reading this in a time in my life where it's just extra relatable. Definitely think you should give Emily Henry a chance. If you guys have read Emily Henry before, let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of her books. What are your favorite Emily Henry books or least favorite? If you want to rank them, let me know down below, like what you guys thought about this. Do I feel like she's an instant buy author for me? I don't know. I don't think so. I know Funny Story just came out and that one has gone just raving reviews. However, I think I can wait for the paperback, but I'm also excited that there are more Emily Henry books that I get to read in the future. Those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed my Emily Henry reading vlog. I had so much fun experiencing a new author for the first time, especially after my last reads being my most anticipated from like authors I was already familiar with. So it was kind of fun to jump into someone that I have not read before. Right after this video, I'm actually going to jump into a completely different genre, a genre that I have never read before because I've honestly been really nervous to, and it's going to be a new author for me because he is a legend. I'm really excited to see what I feel about his writing. He's a legend for a reason, so yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog, and I will see you guys next time.